Hey, I'm Rob. Welcome to Reframe. Do you struggle to finish your music or finish your art because you're a self-proclaimed perfectionist?
Time to make a difference. It's time to make a change. Let's throw our thoughts up on the wall.
Being a perfectionist isn't necessarily a bad thing. When people say they're a perfectionist, they're often saying it in response to someone saying, "Hey, have you released music yet?" Or, "Hey, show me your art. I want to see your art." And then your mind thinking, "Shit, I haven't released any music. I haven't made or finished any art." And then your body saying, No, I'm a perfectionist." So with this response, the perfectionism seems to be a way to justify not having released anything, and almost a statement to the other person that I require a high level of quality to be able to release it into the world, and I would never release something that's not perfect. Now, with that intention in mind, those thoughts seem totally viable. You don't want to release anything that's not to a certain standard. Being a perfectionist can be a really good thing. It can take care of the details, but it can also garner self-deprecation if you don't meet your high standards. There are two categories for perfectionists. There's maladaptive perfectionists and adaptive perfectionists. And there are 5 kinds of perfectionists. There's the classic perfectionist, the Parisian perfectionist, the procrastinator perfectionist, the messy perfectionist, and the intense perfectionist. You could have elements of every one of these perfectionists, but it's whether or not you're adaptive or you're maladaptive that makes the difference to whether or not you can use it as an advantage. Maladaptive perfectionism tends to lead to negative self-talk, stagnation, rumination, and even self-punishment. If you're a maladaptive perfectionist and you don't meet your very high expectations, then you're naturally going to fall into a negative cycle of incompletion, indecision, and you'll struggle to get your art done. The classic perfectionist, in its adaptive style, is very organized, highly structured, gets shit done. But the maladaptive version of this is someone who's so highly structured that they're highly strung, and there's no room for play. So there's no room for the unknown or the unexpected. The Parisian perfectionist doesn't live a highly structured, organized life, but works very hard to be perfect within relationship structures. The adaptive Parisian has great relationships and only focuses on reciprocal relationships. The maladaptive Parisian wants everyone to like them and wants it to appear effortless. The Parisian perfectionist doesn't want to make it seem like they work hard in relationships, but they do. And they end up being people pleasers. The procrastinator perfectionist has grand ideas. They have heaps of ideas and they have a huge vision. The adaptive kind are expert planners and they can see things from every single angle. They accept change as natural and can adapt. Maladaptive procrastinator has many grand plans, a grand vision, but has a fear of starting. And when they let it sit for a bit, they give up on the idea. They often live in self-loathing and indecision. The messy perfectionist tends to start projects very easily and have a grand vision for them, but it fizzles out very quickly. The adaptive messy perfectionist is a great brainstormer and has lots of optimism and is able to bring projects to completion. The maladaptive messy perfectionist gets put off by the grind, all the hard work it takes to get something done, so they often just stop. Then you have the intense perfectionists, and they're the leaders. They're the ones with the intense drive to succeed. They'll have such a narrow focus that they will get to the end. The adaptive intense perfectionist knows that there are mistakes on the way, but still has this narrow focus and manages to achieve most goals. The maladaptive intense perfectionist tends to have the same mindset, goal-driven, but they drive people away in pursuit of that goal. So they compromise their surroundings so that they can achieve that goal. Perfectionism is very common in music, and it's easy to have maladaptive tendencies. Art is an introspective process. The rumination, analyzation, and isolation, which is sometimes required to create, can encourage neurotic thought patterns to emerge and contribute to maladaptive perfectionism. All maladaptive perfectionistic tendencies are based around these things: feelings of inadequacy, fear, stagnation, and expectations. To reframe maladaptive perfectionism to adaptive perfectionism, it's important to acknowledge some truths. Everybody fails. Going to the gym is a great example of this. We're literally looking to achieve failure. When you work out a muscle to the point where you can't lift one more time, you're actually tearing the fibers of your muscle in order for those fibers to grow back stronger. So you're trying to achieve failure. Same goes for achieving your goals. The maladaptive perceive failure as a negative, i.e. not being good enough. The adaptive perceive failure as the only way to grow, a positive thing, a requirement. You have strength. There is good in what you do well. Self-compassion, celebrating what's right about what you're doing. Everything you do has your unique stamp. The things you do with effortless quality enrich the lives of yourself and others. Ask yourself, what parts come easiest to me? What are my strengths? Where can I convey my most authentic truth? Am I leaning into this aspect of myself? Can I seek help on my current weaknesses? Self-awareness enables you to know where you should spend your time and effort. How can you allocate tasks of less skill and interest? There is strength in seeking help for your weaknesses. To achieve the standard that you strive for, make collaboration curation one of your strengths. Allocating help from people with other strengths allows you to spend more time on your own strengths, you to enjoy the process more, the process to get done quicker, the result to be better, and collaborative euphoria. We did it! Progress is success. And the goal is also progress towards that standard. So you're actually winning if you're getting closer every time. Perfectionists get stuck in editing loops. It is a self-contained loop of two of the stages of process, recreation and feedback. Because of a perfectionist's tendency to judge themselves off their inadequacies, they continually provide feedback for themselves, noticing their standard not being met and recreating or altering an idea past the point of the idea being conveyed successfully. This can then cause the original essence and beauty of the idea to be distracted by the unnecessary detail, inferiorly conveyed by someone whose strengths don't communicate that detail naturally well. This feedback loop causes a time discrepancy. Every revision increases the amount of time it takes to get closer to the expected standard. This means real progress is slow. And when progress is slow, a few things happen. You become bored of what you're working on. You lose momentum. You begin to change. And if it does get finished, you don't feel like the piece represents you anymore. Are you moving forward? Are your efforts actually making a difference? Daily progress is success. Knowing that the goal is not to obtain perfection, but it's to convey an idea. Sometimes our idea, our fundamental idea, can get clouded by the details. Sometimes that great song that you've written can get distracted by the perfect production. Acknowledging those things can help you turn negative, maladaptive perfectionism into adaptive perfectionism. I hope you enjoyed this video about perfectionism. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm Rob. Thanks for watching Reframe.